This is a continuation of the previous video on class paths, packages, and commands. Let's take a look at this class. Package com.foo, my class, which is within package com.foo, and which has a method hi. So the fully qualified name of my class is com.foo.myclass. So this is the fully qualified name of my class. So okay, if in a class another, if you're trying to use my class, you could do something like this, right? Or you could import all the classes within com.foo. Okay, so this one is an alias name, and this one is a full name, which is a fully qualified name of my class, which includes the package name as well. So you define the fully qualified name for the class with an import statement, or with the wildcard in an import statement of the package. So this is a fully qualified name, or you could also use a wildcard. Once you have defined the fully qualified name, you can use the alias in your code, but the alias is referring back to the fully qualified name. So whenever you do this, whenever you use an alias name, it would try to find a fully qualified name um, uh, based on what you have defined here. So based on your import statements, it tries to associate the alias name with an import statement, which works out. So the alias name is for your uh, convenience, but the alias name would be referring back to the fully qualified name. Okay, so whatever internally, every class is represented by its fully qualified name, which is package name plus the class name. Like in this case, com.foo is a package name dot my class. So even though you see my class, it's internally com.foo.myclass. So so in this example, you could use simple name, right, which refers back to this, or you could use the whole name, com.wickedlysmart.date. Now, because this applies only to utils, and whenever you try to use date, which is in the same package, you would have to specify the whole package name, or you could do something like import com.wickedlysmart.date, or you could sort of eliminate these two statements and have a single import using a wildcard. You could do import com.wickedlysmart.star. Okay, so right, so class paths can have class path can have relative paths or absolute paths. Relative paths are appended uh, to the current directory. Okay, let's see what that means. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Right, in this example, I have class A. Okay, so say if my class path has path 1 colon path 2 colon path 3, and say if my path 1 is absolute, which is from starting from root, and my path 2 is relative, and my path 3 is relative. Okay, now say if I have so if I have class A, class B that belongs to package ca.dal.pocum.marker, and then if I do this, so within the current directory, I'm generating two classes, A.class and B.class. So the fully qualified name of A and B are ca.dal.pocum.marker.a.class. So what happens when I do this is in the within the current directory, it's actually uh, within the current directory, there'll be a folder generated, which is ca, the subfolder dal, the subfolder pocum, the subfolder marker, and then these class files would be placed right here. So this is incorrect. So if you do so, okay, so within current directory, if you do java c -d dot a dot java, then it would, within the current directory, it would generate ca dal pocum marker and places a.java, a.class, and b.class. Okay, so the fully qualified name of A is actually ca.dal.pocum.marker.a, and B is ca.dal.pocum.marker.b. Okay, now when, okay, so you've compiled it. Now if you're trying to run it, if you say java -c, okay, so you're saying the current directory is the class path. Okay, and then you do this. Okay, and say you have path 4, which is dot, which implies the current directory. Okay, now in this case, because you're providing the class path inline, this one would be ignored. This is the environment, the global class path, which is the system's environment class environment variable. Okay, so because you're providing it in line, this one would be ignored. Okay, now you're saying ca dot. Okay, so what happens here is whenever you say this, Java would take this name here, right? So to the current path, which is the current directory, it takes this one and it tries to append ca dal pocum marker, and then tries to find a dot class with the name ca.dal.pocum.marker.a. Okay, so this works, so because that's what the fully qualified name of A is. Okay, now in this case, with the, okay, so you're trying to, okay, you're right here, and then you're saying the class path is up to the marker. So you're saying this is the class path, and then you're trying to find A, which is A, right? Which seems okay. So you're asking Java to find A within this folder, which is right here within here. Okay, so A, you might think A is right here, but this one wouldn't work because it's, even though it's the file, the name of the file is a.class, its fully qualified name is ca.dal.pocum.marker.a, right? So what happens is Java would come here because that's what you've said, right? So you're asking Java to look within this directory, and then it actually tries to find um, a dot class. Okay, just a dot class, right? Right, but this is not a dot class. This is ca.dal.pocum.marker.a.class. So that's the reason why it fails. Okay, now if you were to have say, okay, if I were to do this, if I were to do class A, public class A within no package, so that means its fully qualified name is just a dot class. If I were to take this and put it here, then this command would work fine. Okay, now let's take another example in which, okay, I'm trying to use A within class N. Now whenever you do this java c, say, -d dot n dot java, java c tries to find where A is. Okay, now because you didn't specify any class path here, it would consider this class path, right? Okay, now because you're saying import, what happens is okay, so java c uh, first looks in the standard directory, which is jre, and it certainly doesn't find A. Okay, now it looks at class path it looks at path 1, which is an absolute path, and then appends this to this path. So it does path 1 plus whatever this is, ca dal or slash path 1 slash ca dal pocum marker slash, it tries to find ca dot dal dot pocum dot marker dot a dot class. If it doesn't find it there, it goes to path 2, which is a relative path. So in case of relative paths, okay, which is say just like ab slash cd, so it doesn't proceed by a slash. Okay, this one doesn't exist, it's a relative path. So it takes the current directory where you're executing this command in, say it is in bbc directory. So it takes bbc and adds ab slash cd, okay, ab slash cd, right? And then it tries to look. Okay, so this is the directory. Okay, so say this is slash bbc. So now this is the absolute path in which it tries to look this one in. So it does ca dal pocum marker slash, it tries to find ca dot dal dot pocum dot marker dot a dot class. Okay, if it doesn't find, then it does the same thing for path 3. Now it goes to the current directory, okay, and then which is slash bbc, and then does the same ca dal pocum marker, and then again the fully qualified name tries to find it. And that's how Java C goes about finding the exact location of a class file. So that said, okay, what I mean, finally, just to finalize this, what exactly happens is, say if the fully qualified name of a class is abc.bbc.a dot class. Okay, so okay, so and if you have path 1 within class path, path 2, path 3, if this is your class path. So the way Java C and Java search for a dot class is, it takes path 1 first. They both look in JRE slash within the jar file, and if it doesn't find it there, it goes to the class path, and it says path 1 slash abc slash bbc slash abc dot bbc dot a dot class, right? If this one doesn't work out, path 2 slash, so say if path 1 is absolute, starting from slash, so it searches within. Say if path 2 is relative, it appends this to the current directory. So this is current directory slash path 2 slash abc bbc dot abc dot bbc dot a dot class. Now say if path 3 is absolute, it says path 3, this is absolute, this is relative, okay, and then does the same as this here. And if I were to have path 4, which is say a relative one, then it would do current directory slash path 4 slash, again the same. Okay, now okay, if I were to put say this class, say within the jar file here, okay, then this one would work. Because Java C and Java would be looking at this location initially, and if I were to place all my classes in this jar file, then I don't even have to worry about the class paths anymore.